You know the feeling, right? You're scrolling through your feed and you land on someone's profile. At first glance, everything seems normal, but then it hits you. Something's missing. There are no selfies, no pictures from their last vacation, really, no trace of their personal life at all. It's kind of like you found a ghost in the machine.
I mean, in a world that is just screaming for constant visibility, their silence is loud. It really stands out, doesn't it? And it gets you thinking, why? Why do some people choose to stay almost completely invisible online when it feels like everyone else is sharing, well, everything?
And let's be honest, our minds immediately jump to conclusions. It's just what we do. We might think, oh, they must be insecure. Or maybe, they've got something to hide. Or we just write them off as antisocial. You know, these are the easy, kind of surface-level judgments we all make.
But what if? What if those snap judgments are just flat out wrong? What if there's something way deeper, something more profound going on behind that default profile picture?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Because, psychology actually suggests a totally different story. A much deeper and frankly way more fascinating one. It hints that this behavior isn't about weakness at all. In fact, it might be about a kind of quiet, confident strength that most of us just completely overlook.
So yeah, that's really the core idea we're going to dig into. We're going to reframe this whole thing, not as insecurity, but as a sign of some serious psychological strength.
Okay, so here's the absolute key. It's a deliberate choice. They are choosing privacy over popularity. This isn't something that just happens by accident. No, it's a conscious decision to build a wall around their personal space, to protect it from that constant, relentless pressure for public validation. So you see, they're not really hiding, they're safeguarding.
So what's actually going on in their heads? What are the psychological traits that are fueling this choice? All right, let's dive into the psychology of it.
Okay, first up, strong self-awareness. Think about it. For these individuals, their sense of who they are is built from the inside out. It doesn't wobble or change based on how many likes or shares they get. It's not tied to the latest online trend. It's stable because they define it themselves. And that self-awareness leads directly to the next point, emotional security. Because their confidence comes from within, they just don't have that same need for external validation. The constant stream of likes and comments and notifications, they don't need it to feel good about themselves. They already feel whole. No audience required.
And this slide really just lays it all out, right? It shows two completely different ways of being. On one side, you've got what we can call the deep thinkers. They value what's inside, they're focused on personal growth, and they're busy actually living their lives. Then, on the other side, you have the online performers, and they're often more focused on documenting their lives, perfecting that public image, and constantly looking for that external validation.
A huge piece of this puzzle is just perception. These people, they often see right through what you could call the digital illusion. They get that social media is a highlight reel. It's curated. It's the best moments, not the messy, complicated, but beautiful reality of a full life.
And because they see that illusion and they choose not to play the game in the same way, well, they get to sidestep some of the biggest mental traps out there. Things like that constant pressure to perform for an audience, that toxic cycle of comparing your life to someone else's polished feed, and of course, that gnawing anxiety of being judged by hundreds of people you don't even know.
So all of this really gives us a whole new way to think about our own lives online. Which brings us right to our final section, rethinking your digital self.
Look, if there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this quote: "Choosing privacy over popularity isn't weakness. It can be a massive sign of strength. It's not about hiding from the world, it's about self-preservation. It's a real sign of true inner confidence."
And so I'll leave you with this final question to chew on. The next time you're about to post something, just pause for a second and ask yourself, is this a real reflection of me and what I actually care about? Or is it a performance? Is it for an audience? The answer? Well, it just might surprise you.